So the last review I did was of the Canadian band Mystery. I always feel like this band that I'm covering today is very similar. The two have very parallel journeys of where they got their start and where they've ended up. They both started off in the later 80s but never really got any traction, and both are kind of that staple neo-progressive bands. What we actually find with this band, Comedy of Errors, is that the traction has been found now. They've put out a new album of Spirit. Hello, I'm Notes. We have a new album from Comedy of Errors, the neo-progressive rock band all the way from Glasgow. These guys got their start, as I said, near the late to end of the 80s, but never really got anywhere. They tried their hands at the records, but just didn't quite make it. But what we found now is that they really found their stride here. And what we have is a beautiful new record. I first heard about them when they put out their previous album, A Fanfare and Fantasy. This album really caught my eye, especially when it came out the same time as The World Is a Game from Mystery. The two, again, are very, very similar. They're almost paralleling one another. But I find where Mystery is really hunkering down and trying to figure out how to structure their songs, Comedy of Errors is really trying to move the sounds forward and really develop the sound. And I'm loving this album beyond words. It's really hard to really put down into words how much I love this album. First up, let's talk about the structure of this album. It's very much like, say, A Thick as a Brick or A Misplaced Childhood, if you will, in that the entire album is really one piece of music. I love that presentation. It really piques my interest when a band does this. It makes the listen very easy for me. It makes the enjoyment of the album a little bit more in that I'm not having to skip any of the songs. Everything kind of blends together so that it's one sit-down and listenable track. Likewise with this, I can't really pinpoint any real song that I could take out of this album. It's like taking away just a part of a song and just listening to that one song if you were doing that track by track. This really begs to be listened as a whole. The only real song that you can kind of do that with, where you can take it out of the album and just listen to it on its standstill, is the title track of Spirit. But again, the thing is, which one do you listen to? Because much like a lot of those types of albums where it's just the one song, a lot of the themes are revisited over and over again. So Spirit is technically on this album twice.
A light straight from heaven, shine through your eyes, like an angel sent from above to bathe everyone in love. A light shines from heaven, from the love in your eyes. Forever you're part of us, still in our lives.
Getting into what this album actually sounds like, I'm thinking, oh, I've heard this before. And it starts off very much like that, just within the opening couple of notes. Very much like IQ's The Enemy Smacks. It has that same kind of ferocious playing, at least right from the get-go. But the overall mood does shift from that very abrasive, very in-your-face kind of sounds to a very atmospheric, a very soft-driven kind of a song. Almost to a Vangelis kind of a themes, especially when he paired up with John Anderson. And I really like that contrast that we have. I love how the build-ups and the payoffs are brought into this album. They're both done very, very well. I love the use of these building ups and then the breaking downs, and then the building ups again and then the breaking downs. But each time you build up and you break down, you're in a new territory. You're in a new landscape of music. So I love a lot of the use of the instrumentations. You've got those deep kind of an organ sounds, and you have those choir-like sounds just permeating the entire album, as well as being very symphonically driven with a synthesizer. That's the overall feeling of this album. I like the sound effects that they use. A lot of the times they're doing the back and forth between the channels, and again, very well done.
Throughout the land. And what can I tell you? And what can I say? We offer you everything to show us the way.
There's really no point in this album that's really boring. All areas of this album are really taken up perfectly. Wrapping this all up, I have to say that you have to go out and get this album as soon as you can. If you can find it in the physical format, definitely pick it up because it's well worth the investment. This is easily on my top 5 albums of this year, if not in the top 3. And that's really about it. Nothing but praise for this new entry for Comedy of Errors. What did you guys think about it? If you haven't listened to it, take my advice and give it a spin. If you have, let me know what you thought about it down below. Thank you guys again so much for watching. It really means a lot. That's about it. Notes out.